Today on Arts 24, we're joined by a groundbreaking Harlem-based sculptor of Jamaican descent who uses her art to explore what it means to be black, queer and feminine in America today. Kim Dacres' work transforms discarded tyres into powerful monuments of identity, memory and resistance. Her first European solo exhibition, Crossroads Like This, opens this week at Zidoun-Bossuyt Gallery in Paris. From her Bronx studio to museum collections across the US, her voice is reshaping contemporary sculpture. And I'm delighted to welcome Kim Dacres to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure. Now let's start with the title, Crossroads Like This. Is that a reference to your life personally, or are you referring to this moment politically in America?
It's a little bit of both. In Jamaican idioms, crosses is kind of like a bad intentions. It's a bad luck when you say them are crosses is a bad luck implication. And then crossroads being this political moment where you're reconciling your identity and your location between being a black person, a woman, a queer person. What does that look like in the United States? And how is that going to change my future, change the future of others?
So how did the climate of the last election cycle shape the narratives within the sculptures then?
I went to the studio and every day was very stressful. It felt like an incredible weight just to exist in the moment and to find joy and solace. So I started with going back to music of my childhood, music that was playing in my home with my parents who were Jamaican, and dance hall. The dance hall classics are such socially rebellious songs. So it instantly was talking about the moment, the political moment that's happening in the United States.
But was comforting as well.
Yeah, but also very comforting and able to find some joy because the way that things are described are so poignant and direct that you can't help but laugh and find a little bit of joy.
And your work, it reclaims and transforms rubber tyres, which is very unconventional and very tactile medium. What first drew you to this material, and what can you say with this material that you can't say with traditional ones?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, the tyres, I really like the smell. The smell is a symbol of where I come from, where I was born. I was born in the Bronx, and we have a lot of tire and auto body shops. So it was a big fixture growing up and seeing the material everywhere. Additionally, it's a symbol of mobility. Having your first bicycle, having your first car, your first scooter, it allows you to get further and further away from home. So I was really attracted to the material for that reason. And because it has all of these layers, not just of mobility, but also of the extraction of resources from the African continent, from the global South, all of that is embedded in the material, those social histories, the places that the material has been. It's all evident in the tire. And as you get closer and closer and you look, you get to see how it's been manipulated and how those histories have been manipulated as well.
Wow, that's so interesting. There's so many layers. Each sculpture in the show draws from Jamaican patois, dancehall culture and ancestral memory. I wanted to talk about one work in particular, which is called Row Me, No Bad Mind Me. Can you talk to us about this?
Well, I think one of my, you're not supposed to say this, but it's probably one of my favorite pieces in the show, in the exhibition. And the title comes from a classic song from a famous dancehall artist named Beanie Man. And it's a story of two siblings, Romy and Naomi. And I really wanted to think about how the children are being affected by some of the decisions that we're making. What are the black and brown children, queer children who are coming up in this political moment? How does the news of the day impact their intentions for their future? So no bad mind me is an idiom that we use in Jamaican patois to talk about don't wish bad luck on me, don't wish bad intentions for me. So in combining the reference to the song and then some of the words and wishes we say in the title, I wanted to make sure that we look out for our children.
Well, you're talking a lot about young people. Before becoming a full-time artist, I read that you were actually a teacher.
Yes.
And a principal in New York schools. How has that experience shaped the way and approach to your work?
Well, you see a lot of multiple disciplines in my practice. So having the text to explain what we're seeing, having the songs and the playlists, all of those feel like a lesson plan coming together. This is the visual anchor. This is the intention or the main focus of the themes that I would want someone to take away. So I approach my practice as if I'm introducing a lesson or a new unit to a new audience. So not everyone's going to have the same references that you do when you're walking into an exhibition. So having those multi-dimensional approaches, it helps. Yeah.
And Kim, we're living in a time of global reckoning, not just in America, with climate, race, gender and history all under the microscope. As an artist who's working with these reclaimed materials and reclaimed narratives, what do you hope viewers will walk away with when they leave your exhibition, Crossroads Like This?
Well, I hope that they really walk away knowing that we are at a really pivotal time in our history and our culture where if we don't make a change now and really see the issues for what they are, moving away from all of the political rancor and seeing like the decisions that we're making are really impacting folks' mental health, is impacting the mental health of Black women, it's impacting the mental health of our young people, it's impacting our environment. So I hope that people walk away with a little bit of sense of joy with the music. I hope they walk away and listen to the playlist that's associated with the exhibition and see that they also can have the same sort of like pushback and experience on some of the things we're experiencing in the world today.
Oh, well, Kim, your exhibition is one of many exhibitions that are opening this September here in Paris. You reshape materials and narratives to explore identity and heritage. Another artist here in Paris is using photography to examine themes of beauty and womanhood. And Brazilian photographer Val Souza's collage, Venus, brings together pop culture icons, personal portraits and historical images to create a rich, layered conversation about femininity. Olivia Salazar-Winspear went to meet her and learn more about this compelling work.
The goddess of beauty, love and seduction. Venus is the mythological ideal of womanhood and the subject of Val Souza's artistic investigation as the photographer examines the clichés surrounding Black women, layering multiple images in her vast collage.
Clichés help me think of ways to escape a reductive view of people. Because not all Black women like samba. Not all Black women are sensual. Not all Black women are flashy. It's just like other people, just like white women.
Photography is a place of fantasy and imagination. In this way, Val Souza connects images that, at first glance, may seem very distant in form and concept. She puts them in dialogue with each other. In doing so, she reveals hidden meanings. Using illustrations from Brazil's colonial era, important historical figures like the so-called Hottentot Venus, and even advertising, Souza says it was the family albums her mother compiled and proudly displayed that helped her understand what it means to be represented.
In Brazil, we have a very superficial way of talking about images of Black people in general in schools, which is all linked to the violence of slavery. So that's why they become beings to be seen, objects, that sort of thing. In contrast, my mother did something very powerful, which was to create a visual document that reminded me of happiness, of beauty, joy.
This challenge to an objectifying lens or male gaze is part of an important shift as a new generation of artists engage with Brazil's history and culture.
She's using many photographs and images that we have seen over and over in the history books of photography, but in her panel, she's actually shifting the meaning of those images and trying to offer us another point of view. She's trying to show that the women that are present in these images were also transmitting their own affection, their own agency, their own beauty.
Val Souza says the self-portraits in Venus are a radical act of self-love and a way to put herself and other Black Brazilian women back in the center of the frame and in the center of the story.
Well, Val Souza's Venus reframes how Black women are seen through the lens of history, art and personal memory. That question of who gets to shape the narrative is something our guest today, Kim Dacres, also explores powerfully through her sculpture. You were nodding a lot during that report.
Yes.
Talk to us about your reaction to what you saw.
It was so beautiful to see how she's transforming images that we've learned and been ingrained in the United States of the story of the Hottentot Venus and taking that to say, not all women, not all Black women should be seen this way. Sometimes we can be just seen for our intellect or for our strength or for our joy and not as something to be taken advantage of. And I loved her use of portraiture to do this. My work is more like abstract portraiture, but I wanted to have celebratory busts of Black women. So you see a lot of focus on the hairstyles and that kind of presentation. So you can see how the material is like transformed. So it was really nice to see her like exude so much joy. It was so apparent. And that's something that's very rare for us, especially when we're looking at images on TV, when we're looking at any kind of news or social media.
We need joy. We need
more joy. We need more joy for sure.
Kim, before we say goodbye, we always ask our guests for their cultural pick of the moment. And you've actually chosen the Centre Pompidou, the Pompidou Centre, which is about to close for renovations. Why is this a place that's so important to you as an artist?
Well, it was a place I studied in school. The exterior with the escalators and being able to see this architectural marvel. And then I wanted to go to see the Paris Noir show. It focused on Black artists in Paris and Black artists and writers in Paris in the 1960s, things that I had read about, images that I had seen, but to see them all in context it made me feel very special that I was meant to be here and that being here as a Black Jamaican American child of immigrants, queer artist, that I'm also walking in the same historic steps as some of my favorite writers. Yeah.
Kim,
so the Pompidou really, it really brought all of that together for me.
Okay, Kim, it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Eve.
Thank you so much for coming in. Crossroads Like This opens this week at Zidoun-Bossuyt Gallery in Paris. We're going to end the show with some images of the Pompidou Centre, filmed by our colleagues on France in Focus, who are preparing a special show to mark the temporary closure of the art space next week. Here's a preview. We'll see you next time on Arts 24.